everyone, and welcome to The Real Beef. I'm Don Keith. Today, I've got a very special guest with me, Daniel Emmerson. Daniel is a political commentator and investigative journalist, and I'm going to bring him onto the show. He's going to tell us about the relationship between Nigel Farage and Hope Not Hate. Here he is, Daniel Emmerson. Hey, Daniel, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Hi, Don. Thanks for having me on your show. Great work. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, man. You know, you and I hooked up this week through a DM that you sent me, and I'm just going to read this DM really quick. I had it pulled up, and it was just kind of out of the blue, so I wasn't really sure what to think. And you basically told me that, well, it's not pulling up on my phone here. Let's see here. He said, "Hello, huge fan. Keep up the good work. I've known Farage for over a decade. He has been passing info on his own candidates to Hope Not Hate, and I can prove it." When I saw that, I was like, wow, that's really shocking. I wonder how true can that be? Why would Nigel Farage be working with Hope Not Hate against his own candidates? So tell me a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind. Introduce yourself, and then we'll go from there.
So I'm a 52-year-old father of two lovely kids. I'm a normal person. Up until 2013, I'd had absolutely no interest in politics, whatsoever. But I just started noticing that around me things were changing, and in my opinion, I didn't believe that they were changing for the good. I started noticing that all of the newspapers, all of the government policies and issues that they were focusing on were everything except the British people's what was in the British people's interest, and it just started eating away at me. And I earn respectably decent money, and my taxes are going up, and I'm not anti-tax at all, but it concentrates the mind when you see a large part of your salary every month going towards the state, and the states seem to turn its back on us. That's how I felt. This was in 2013. I mean, we know it's glaringly obvious now. So it just
you became upset with your government, and you got into the politics. Tell me a little bit about
disillusioned. I would say disillusioned.
Okay, what would you say about your political background from there? You were what parties were you a member of?
So I joined the Conservative Party for a year, and they just weren't saying the things that were floating my boat. And what happened was my MP is he's a perfect example of what's wrong with Parliament. His name is Kit Morthouse. He's still an MP now, even after the 2024. But I gave him an opportunity. I had a chat with him on my doorstep, and he knew nothing about local issues. He'd basically been parachuted in. This was on a Sunday morning. I closed the front door. I'd never heard of Nigel Farage. I walked back into my living room. My boy at the time was only 2, so he was asleep on the couch. So I sat down. I turned the volume on the telly, and Nigel Farage was in the process of giving a speech, and I was hooked. Everything that came out of his mouth were things that I'd noticed, because before then, all of my circle are not politics. It's football. It's everyday normal stuff. And I
what year was that?
Getting dragged in 2013.
2013. So you heard Nigel Farage, and you hooked. So you liked his message. You were a member of the Conservative Party. You also told me you were a member of UKIP too. So you left Conservative Party and became a UKIP member. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, in February of 2013.
And now
actually, it might have been 2014, February 2014. I can't remember.
Okay, so now you've left UKIP, and you do support reform now?
Right. So I left UKIP the moment that UKIP ousted Gerard Batten as leader. So that was it for me. I would say I had the reason you've got me on here is because of obviously the Hope Not Hate factor. I'd seen things in UKIP that were setting off my alarm bells. I was seeing things in the party.
Let me stop you right there on that. Let me ask you about that, because I asked you if you had any proof, and you sent me this. I'll pull this up, and it was a text from Gawain Talon. Explain to the text says, in about 2010, one of the staff would run names past a Hope Not Hate staff member. UKIP was riddled with former is that Nigel Farage and British National Party fanatics? Is that what that means?
National Front.
Okay.
So
National
yes, yeah,
Front.
which is a racist party along with the BNP. So
Okay.
that statement from Gwaine Towler to a degree it's accurate, but it's a political statement.
Hmm.
So for your viewers who are not aware of who Gwaine Towler is, I've known Gwaine for well pretty much as long as I've known Nigel, and I like Gwaine. He's a good, you know, he's a good guy. He's friendly. He's very clever, very politically aware. And Gwaine's role was communications director for Nigel Farage at UKIP. He
Hmm.
held the same role for the Brexit Party and the same role for Reform UK. So it's just obviously handy to sort of advise everyone who Gwaine is. Now, if you look at that statement, what that statement is saying, it's an admission that they were working with Hope Not Hate, but trying to water it down. What for me, this is like the Republicans asking the Democrats to vet their candidates.
Sure, but
If I can
let's
put it that way.
just to play the devil's advocate here. That's 2010. What do we know about
Correct.
more recently?
So Ben Habib has confirmed that he didn't know. So Ben Habib is the former Reform UK leader. Ben has confirmed that during the 2024 general election, though he doesn't know into what level, Reform UK were working, passing candidates' details to Hope Not Hate. And you've seen, and I've shown you some more evidence of that about 10, 15 minutes ago. But I'll have a chat with Ben and get Ben on. So I don't want to put any more words in Ben's mouth. But it's 100% true. Now,
How do you have a relationship with Ben Habib, if you don't mind me asking?
The same way as I have a relationship with Dominic Cummings, with Priti Patel, so because of Brexit. I got to meet a lot of people. I was so passionate that the country should leave the European Union.
What was your role in Brexit?
Well, just as a campaign organizer in my region, that was all. But when I was done where I was, I would put myself all, you've got Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. I went everywhere, Dom, to make sure that the message was put out. I was so passionate. I'm talking about weeks away from my kids in the build up to the EU election. So of course, one of my shall I say skill sets is I'm a good networker. Once I open one door, I find a way for it to open many other doors. The Conservative cabinet, if you can, it's a contradiction in terms, but the previous cabinet, I knew most of the cabinet. Just, when I say no, just texting, messaging. That I wouldn't say I'm friends and they invite me around for tea, but yeah.
So for our American listeners who aren't familiar with Hope Not Hate, explain to me what Hope Not Hate is.
So Hope Not Hate, funnily, the best person to describe it, because he's got more information on him, is a chap currently incarcerated by the state, Tommy Robinson, because his explanation of what Hope Not Hate are is exactly right. So Hope Not Hate are a government and George Soros funded, as far as I'm concerned, anti-terrorist unit. They advise all government departments on this, that, and the other. Now that they have form of as soon as they find out any right-wing candidates' details, they go after their home addresses, they go after their employers, they do absolutely everything that they can to basically destroy that individual. And what's more, they seem to really enjoy doing it. But they are a radical, ultra left-wing think tank.
And they are also responsible for a great deal of the folks who get attention, let's just say, from the police and other authorities for posts that they make on Facebook. They go after folks for posting against COVID, for posting against transgenders, for maybe saying something out of the way about Pakistani Muslim rape gangs and things like that. They're a very radical organization, akin to what we might see here in America with either BLM or an Antifa type group.
They get their hands dirty with what would, if it was a right-wing organisation, it would be classed as crime. Yeah, so they do the dirty work of the state. That's what they do. And the fact that Nick Lowles has never been investigated by the police, as far as I'm aware, with some of the tweets he's put out inciting violence, I think, for me, that surely, that if that isn't evidence to find, and then I'm a cat.
So is it your statement here today that as recently, because I know we've texted back and forth and I've seen some things in your text, is it your position here today that Nigel Farage has worked with Hope Not Hate to vet candidates as recently as 2024?
Correct. Now,
That's astonishing. That is astonishing to me.
I want, so I've been messaging Nigel and asking him, is this true? Is this true? Is this true? He's read my messages, because obviously on WhatsApp you get the little blue ticks, but he doesn't respond. Yeah. Now, if I can just divert slightly to what first sort of, and this is anecdotal, so I will admit this part of it's anecdotal. He is so hell bent against Tommy Robinson, it doesn't make sense. He's even willing to take an opposition position to the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, who for me is just an absolute genius, and your wonderful leader of the free world, well, our wonderful leader of the free world, President Donald Trump. The Nigel I know is too clever to do that. He is hell bent on throwing Tommy under a bus. Even when he doesn't have to, he does it. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to. Right. So here in Britain, people like me on the centre right, we're annoyed with Nigel because we want him to be our Trump. But the reality is, he is no Trump.
He's far from it. He's much more. He's really a coward, in my opinion. I don't. And Trump's not.
Well, the problem is he's not a coward. Nigel is not a coward. This is why what he's doing now, it's as if it's anecdotal and I might be tinfoil hat time. I think he's working to instructions. I don't know the part of why yet, but I will find out. I'll find out. So he'd go up against Elon Musk, not even a rational conversation, not even well, hang on a minute. Well, why do you think this? Okay, well, this is the evidence I've got. What have you got? None of that. He's flat out dead against Tommy Robinson. And we know the state is because the way the state for me, Tommy Robinson right now is being tortured. That's how I look at it.
Of course. He's been in solitary confinement for 3 months straight now. In a prison he's not supposed to be in. First of all, he should have never gone to prison for a civil contempt charge. I think he's like only the second person in history maybe to go to prison for a civil contempt.
Julian Assange did Julian Assange as well, with no charges, if I'm right, for years.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly the details of Assange, but yeah, he was a political.
He was kept on an extradition order for 7 years in Belmarsh prison in solitary.
Right. I think you're right. The emphasis on Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage continues and nobody even asks Nigel about Tommy, and he goes after Tommy just out of the blue. He brings up Tommy Robinson, and I've always thought it was kind of to take the heat off of himself, because they always come at Nigel too because of his conservative values, and then he always manages to somehow throw Tommy into the conversation, which baffles me. But I asked you earlier. So if you could explain this to me, why?
Can I just add one thing? I do apologise, Dom, but when Tommy Robinson was arrested, he's going through a bullshit, excuse the language, terrorist charge. When that happened, I messaged Nigel straight away. Can you come out and say Tommy might be a lot of things, but he's not a terrorist? Yeah. Nigel said to me, I know he's not anything. He's not a racist. I know this. He's just the wrong messenger. That's what Nigel said directly to me. Now the messages I'm hearing from Nigel, I'm like, what? How can you have this level of hatred to the point where it's detriment to his own success?
Yeah, and he's publicly accused him of physically assaulting a woman, which was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There's absolutely no evidence of that anywhere. He's never been charged for such a thing.
But he says the same things.
It's very libelous, if you ask me.
Yeah, he says the same things as Hope Not Hate. He said he's a drugs. He's mentioned drugs before with Tommy. Now, I don't know Tommy enough to know about any of that sort of thing. But I noticed there's a pattern in what Hope Not Hate say about Tommy. Nigel seems to be saying, again, it's just anecdotal, and I might not be 100% accurate, but something isn't right. But one thing I can tell you,
that's not adding up to me,
working with reform.
Yeah, something else that's not adding up to me as well, and we talked about this a little bit, is why isn't Hope Not Hate going after Farage? They go after everybody else, but they never seem to go after Farage. Why is that?
Well, they make little comments, don't they? They do make little comments because that would be the obvious thing. So if you go on to Hope Not, they go, well, we go after Nigel Farage and UKIP and Andrew Tate, but they don't do anything like they do with everyone else.
Certainly not like they do with Tommy. It's like he's public enemy number one to them.
Yep.
But we also talked about I asked you, had Ben Habib gone public to talk about this information you're giving me now, saying that Nigel Farage has, as recently as 2024, been working with Hope Not Hate against his own candidates. What has Ben Habib said publicly about that? And do we have any direct evidence of Nigel working with him as recently as 2024?
No, so let me do the direct evidence bit. Somebody like Nigel never gets their hands dirty. That's just how it works. They get somebody else to get their hands dirty, right? But his former chief executive and his former comms director were passing Hope Not Hate details, knowing how Hope Not Hate work. Right? Imagine you're a candidate, or I'm a candidate for Hope Not Hate, and my details, my personal details, because they want to know where you work, they want to know all your Facebook profile, they want to know obviously your address, they want to know any past affiliations. Why would you give that to an organisation like Hope Not Hate, where they end up terrorising candidates, and they know that they do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's very strange. And back to the Ben Habib part, you said Ben Habib did mention something about this publicly. What was it he said?
Right. So I'm going to retract that a bit because I can't remember. He said it to me directly. And that's twice he said it to me. I've shown you his WhatsApp messages, and he's given me permission to, to basically reaffirm, as you can see. Yeah. When I say permission,
I have the text for some reason. Let's see here. All right.
He's just basically given it a thumbs up because I think he's on GB News now.
Yeah. You sent me a WhatsApp text exchange with him. What did he say here?
He just put a thumbs up. I gave him a heads up that I was going to say he confirmed that Hope Not Hate were working with reform in the 2024 general election, but he didn't know to what level, and he was not happy about it.
Okay, you said he has said, and I quote, "I am not sure to what level Reform UK was working with Hope Not Hate, but I can confirm they were." That's from Ben Habib, you said.
Correct.
So he has information on that, or...
let's see if I can get him on your show. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I just know they were. So if I go back to Gawain Towler, so I messaged Gawain and said, "Is this true?" And that message that you saw that I put onto the article, he basically reaffirmed that, but he did start to deny it. Because obviously he knows me, I know who Hope Not Hate are, and then he said, "Oh yeah, well we did in the odd case." There were 3 people in the comms office, 3. He said Gawain said to me, I'm laughing because he said to me, it wasn't me that did it. It was a chap called Mark, but I can't remember what his name was. This is Reform. So he's comms director. There's only 3 of them, and he didn't know who Mark's surname.
Is Gawain Towler still the comms director for Nigel?
No, he was released from his position.
Okay, how long ago?
End of July, August time.
In 2024?
In 2024, yes. Along with the chief exec, he was released as well. He was released on the 3rd of July, I believe.
So
that's when Zaya Yusuf came in.
Now you posted, you sent me an article from your, is this your outlet, your news outlet, Fortis Est Veritas? Is that
yes,
you?
It is. Yes.
And you're the editor and a writer, or are you the owner of the outlet?
It is. Yeah, I own it, but I have other people that write as well.
Okay, so I posted the article that you sent me this week with some of this that alluded to what we're talking about now, and I got a lot of comments online from folks who said, a lot of folks, and I would ask you, what would you say to these folks who said this is old news, it's already been debunked or denied by Farage and Reform? What would you say to those folks who say that?
I would say read Gawain's, because I saw some of those comments. I would say read Gawain's text from his own lips, and this is where you need Ben to do the other bit. Because obviously Ben, former deputy leader, he's more credible than me. But it's true. It is true.
So what? How does a Nigel Farage go on leading the Reform Party if this is true? I mean, if it comes to light that this is all true, how does he go on being the leader of Reform? He's working with one of the most diabolical ultra left radical organizations there is in the UK. How can he be the leader of Reform, which is certainly one of the most conservative parties in the United Kingdom?
So let me put it to you like this: are you the managing director of your company, Don?
Of course.
So if I join now, I can just get rid of you, right?
No.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah, I see what you mean. No, and I guess the question I asked was rhetorical. I know. But to me,
you have to remember, Reform is a bit of a. I am a Reform supporter, so I'm going to be very contradictory of myself, right? Reform have 180,000 supporters. It doesn't have 180,000 members. This is why something isn't right. Why isn't Hope Not Hate jumping on that? Why isn't Kemi Badenoch and the Conservatives jumping on that? Now, there's a difference between a supporter and a member. So if you look at the Labour Party and you look at the Conservative Party, the members can actually vote who the leader is. They can vote the leader out if they want to. Yeah, they can vote on policy changes, policies to be put forward, policies to be retracted. At Reform, they've only got two members, Richard Tice and Nigel Farage. That's the reality of how political parties in the UK work. So this ticker, you remember it was on all over the news, 180,000. Nigel's holding up a phone, and I'm thinking, but that's like, they're supporters. They're not members. Members, they can't do anything. It's a limited company. And
remind me again, how many members of Parliament Reform currently has?
Five.
I thought it was five. Yeah. So that's Tice, Rupert Lowe, Farage. Who are the other two?
Richard Tice and James McMurdoch.
Okay.
And from what I've seen of them, they're good MPs. And Lee Anderson.
Well, I'm not real happy with Tice at all, because he said we don't want anything to do with Tommy Robinson and his lot. That famous statement.
No, no, I take that, and I 100% endorse that. But as a constituency MP, the feedback that I monitor in his area is good.
So his constituents are happy with the work he's doing in Parliament,
assuming they're not Labour voters. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: why isn't this more mainstream news? It would seem to me like obviously Hope Not Hate's probably not going to come out with it, because they don't want people to know they're going undercover with conservatives either. So it's probably just as bad for them as it is for Nigel Farage if they're working with him. But why certainly you're not the only one to know about this, and Ben Habib's not the only one to know about this. Why isn't it more mainstream news?
Well, where would you put it? Look at the group. You're only talking about the groom. We've known about this for decades here. No one cares, because it doesn't fit whatever the overall agenda is at that time. We're only talking about rape gangs now. Sorry, I know. What do you want to call it? Because are you going to put this on YouTube or something? Because you can't say rape.
It's on X, bro. It's on X. Say whatever you want.
Right. Okay. But it's because of Elon Musk. That's the only reason. Now you're getting fake outrage from the MPs in Parliament. They all knew about it. Andrew Bridgen, the former MP, who's a good friend of mine, he handed in a file to the Speaker of the House on some MPs back in 2019. They don't care. They don't care. So that's my answer to you. It's very much a. Our politics in this country is fake. It's a facade. It's fake. But anyway, yeah. So that's another story.
Yeah, I don't know that that's not true everywhere. Politics, you know.
I don't think
I think really the
Donald Trump's
only
fake.
well, no, that's what I was about to say. I think that's why Trump has taken the heat he's taken, because he is not part of the club.
He
He's
loves
not
the
fake. There's
heat.
nothing
He
fucking. He's
thrives
so
on the heat.
real. Yeah, he's so real, and that's why I think that's why he was elected president. But yeah, you guys definitely need a Trump-like figure. Who do you think that is or could be? It's definitely not Farage, in my opinion. Who do you think that could be?
Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe.
Mm-hmm. You think they've got the stones? They've got the Trump stones.
Yeah, they need to learn. I mean, like I'm a career, political expert, but
Yeah, yeah.
I think that Ben, I'm talking to Ben about a few things, and I think he over here we're a lot more reserved in how we articulate ourselves out to the public, right?
Sure.
Historically, but
Well,
I think now
that comes with less freedom, to be honest with you, because I've experienced when I go to the UK, I know people all over the globe think, oh, we pompous, cocky Americans, but it's really not. It's really not so much being cocky. It's just this how our country is. We're very confident in how we are because we can say whatever we want.
I'm jealous of your First Amendment.
Right, and I think it's not. I think it's refreshing to a lot of folks when when we go overseas or whatever. And some people do take offense to it and think, well, those cowboy Americans and all of that kind of stuff. But I just think it just comes with the ultimate freedom that we have. And then you see, I used to think that the United Kingdom was like the second most free country on earth until I started frequenting the country, and I just couldn't believe how oppressed the people are there now. It's unbelievable to me, the limits of your speech. I mean, wow. It's really unbelievable that you just can't say anything. You can't really even speak your opinion about politically to a certain degree, or they'll come knocking on your door and haul you away. It's really.
I think it's reaching the point though where that is exhausted, because even now, friends of mine that I've known for decades, they they used to take the mickey out of me because I can't help it. I was just talking about politics. I'll be the most boring person in the room. Now they're talking to me about it.
You sound like me, man.
Oh no, yeah, but I think we need a Trump. We're never going to get one anytime soon. But Ben.
Well, you can get Tommy Robinson elected to Parliament if he'll take the job.
I don't think Tommy would ever really want to do that. I think
he doesn't want
a normal life.
He doesn't want at this point. But there comes a time, though, when your nation calls. He may see it differently sometime later. Right now, I think he's just trying to get the government off his back, and that's one of my ultimate goals, is just to help him do that, as much as I can, and get him and some of these other folks released from prison who are, political prisoners sitting in jail right now for simple things, posting memes,
think about it,
dirty words on social media.
No one cares about them. These people that have been banged up now for Facebook posts, when rapists and nonces are getting like suspended sentence. Hugh Edwards, it's literally, the world's gone mad. It's just gone mad.
It's like a comic strip, man. It's like opposite world. So yeah, I don't know.
But it's not
what happens from here, man. What do you think happens from here if this does make the mainstream and people find out that Nigel Farage is secretly working with Hope Not Hate? What do you think happens from here?
Well, it will finish it. I've talked with some of Nigel's closest friends that are just doing this now. They're like, what on earth? Because they see what I see. Yeah. And in politics, if like the conservative politics here, the circle isn't as big as you think it is. So everyone's sort of interconnected in some way. They know someone who knows someone, and everyone's scratching their heads. I mean, the Labour Party are so bad. The Conservative Party are so bad that why a reform almost neck and neck with the other two parties in the polling? They should be 10, 15 points clear, because Nigel doesn't have a USP. That's the problem. He's Tory light, and the general public.
What's USP? Explain that to me.
Unique selling point.
Oh,
You
I
know,
got you.
so for people to watch your channel, they watch it because of your individual style, the way you articulate yourself, your unique selling point, right?
Hmm.
Well, a
Yeah.
political party needs that as well. If they're going to be just the same as the Tories, but you know, saying slightly more right wing things, it's not going to be enough to win a general election. But Nigel's
Mhm.
overall plan is to take over the Conservative Party. That's an absolute fact, and I know that to be an absolute fact. I've talked with Aaron Banks, Andy Wigmore over the years. It's an absolute fact that
I
the
saw a recent
party will throw
article,
anyone under a bus to achieve it.
and I've seen an article recently, a couple of articles actually, about the whole the reason reform and the Conservative Party would merge. I understand it, but a lot of my audience who are Americans might not. Can you explain the benefits of reform merging with conservative and why they would do that?
There aren't any, so I can't.
Mhm.
That's
I
as
was
simple
thinking
as
more.
that.
I was thinking more along the lines of the numbers and not splitting the vote is what I was talking.
The Conservative Party are a busted flush. They've had
Mhm.
14 years, and remember, all of the wokeness came in under the Tories. Let's forget how bad the Labour Party
and
are.
the immigrants and the majority of the immigrants.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time we had a general election, it was based on we will reduce the numbers. They lied to us every single time. Yeah, their brand is broken. Broken. It's almost politics is funny to people. So say you buy a Renault vehicle and you have nothing but problems with it. You're never going to buy another one. And the Conservative Party decimated this country with a fake scandemic. Yeah, absolutely. They knew they didn't need to do it. They put face nappies on people. That wasn't Labour. Labour voted with them. Don't get me wrong. Labour were 100% behind them. Our economy is down the pan, and Labour supported them. Labour are saying, "Oh, look at the economy you left us," but they voted in favour of all the the things that would decimate our economy. Make no mistake. So when you hear them now, the whole thing's fake. Don. It's just fake. It's pantomime
So
politics.
why would Farage want to lead a party with no future? Why would he want to be the leader of the Conservative Party?
So, if I can answer that this way, Nigel wanted to close down UKIP. 100% true, right? So when he brought in Henry Bolton at the last minute in I can't remember the year. It's like 2017. When it was after my good friend Paul Nuttall, who was the leader. When he stood down, there was another UKIP election, and it did look like Anne-Marie Waters. I don't know if you know who Anne-Marie Waters is, but Anne-Marie was pretty much the dead cert to win, right? Then this Henry Bolton came from nowhere, and to us UKIPers, long-time UKIPers, it was the equivalent of the 2020 US election. It was a stolen election, right?
Oh, yeah.
But what happened when Henry became leader? They were going to change the name of the party, the logo, basically the branding of who UKIP is, because of its overwhelming. Every household in the United Kingdom knows who UKIP is. It won the EU referendum. Everyone knows it, right? Why would you want to change the branding? Why would you want to destroy what was there that achieved that won 2 national elections in the European Parliament? Why would you want to do that? And that's what they did. Steve Crowther was the chairman at the time, and just pushed it through. The members didn't want it, so he changed the logo and went to change the name. But then when Gerard Batten came in, he sacked him.
Well, where do you go from here? Where do you get more hard evidence to back your suspicions here, or back your position, I should say?
I don't think I need any more proof. Guaidon's admitted it. If you look at that message, that's flannel talk because he was busted. Yeah, that's what happens when you have too much drink and you get a bit cocky and you say something, and then you're challenged on it, right? But
what was What was the date on that text? Do you know? I know he mentioned 2010. Yeah.
I'm using my phone at the minute, so I can't look at the. Oh yeah, actually, maybe I can. Maybe I can. Let me just check.
I'm trying to.
I've got WhatsApp on my PC.
I know he mentioned 2010. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I can't look because it's on X.
I've got it right here. Did you screenshot this today?
No, that's the original screenshot. He's deleted it.
But this isn't a screenshot from 2010, is it?
No, I mean, you can open it out and you'll see when he sent it, the time and date.
This is a screenshot of a tweet. There's no time and date on it. It just says 4 days. It says 4 days.
Right.
So is that 4 days from today?
Let me dig it out. But he sent that out. It would have been about the week he was sacked from Reform. So let me come back to you on that. But it's recent.
So in July, you're saying roughly around the July,
August time. Yes.
Last year, he sent out a text that said, in about 2010, one of the staff would run names past a Hope Not Hate staff member. UKIP was riddled with former. I'm sorry. So explain that to me.
NF? So NF is National Front.
The National Front.
And I've got something to add on that as well.
The BNP fanatics. We didn't want racist then or now. Okay, so that was as recently as July. Why would he say that now or July?
Right. So that wouldn't have been July because the chief exec was sacked in July. Gawain went around September time, October. That's when that tweet would have been. Why would he
say that in September? Was he disgruntled because he'd been sacked, or is that why he said it?
That's the impression I got, because when I challenged him on it, he like I say, he tried to deny it, and then he basically reaffirmed what he put in that message. And
so why
would you work with them in any capacity?
What would Gawain Towler say now if you asked him if Farage was working with Hope Not Hate in 2024, as you suggest, as you stated?
Well, I haven't spoken to him, but if I was to say it to him again, I mean, he wouldn't deny it because he's tweeted it.
Mm-hmm.
So
he tweeted that it happened in 2010.
Yeah,
I want to know what, as you stated, was it happening in 2024 as well?
Well, Ben's confirmed it has, and I would believe Ben over Gawain.
Okay. All right, man. Well, it sounds like you've got all the goods, so I guess we'll see. I'd like to talk with Ben Habib to get a little bit more information on it too. Maybe we can have the two of you back on a show sometime.
Yeah. I'll have a chat with him. So I'm just trying to get the date of the tweet. It's searching at the minute, but
yeah, I can add that later. I think we're going to call it right there. Daniel Emmerson, I really appreciate you being here. Tell folks where they can find you at.
Mr. X Media on Twitter or X as it is now, and I apologise because I'm a bit disgruntled and I've got a bit of a party mouth, but that's where you'll find me.
That's all right. What's the name of your publication?
FortisVeritas.media.
All right. Daniel Emmerson, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for tweeting it out, because the website's only been up for a couple of months and that was the biggest hit that we've had so far.
No problem, man. You're a patriot. I like to help patriots all I can. So
thank you.
I appreciate you, man. You keep up the good fight. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Yeah, thank you. I've enjoyed being on. Take care.
No problem. Thank you all for watching. I'm Don Keith, and you've been watching